Hey
Mm.
everybody, welcome to another epic episode of The Long Game with myself, Jay Hoad, and Mr. Michael Cooper. Today we have, well, business has been booming these last few months for both of us. It's been a really exciting time. And what we've just thought we'd talk about today being we just had a chat before, the podcast about onboarding calls and onboarding clients and how important this is, this connection, the communication, but also being a confident leader in this space. Michael, how are you feeling today, mate? And I'd love to hear your thoughts about this, how to structure these calls and where you need to get your mindset to begin.
Yeah, thank you, mate. As you were just sharing that intro, it's something else came through for me. Is it's really important to see where you sit on the spectrum of selling.
Yeah.
Like so many people I speak to in my men's container specifically, but systemically, and me included, um, have a fear of selling or hate selling.
Yeah.
And I didn't know why until I started to work on myself. But it's really important that you look at where the original wound of this fear or phobia or hatred for selling comes from.
Yeah. And before we even use that S word, which is a beautiful word, I
Mm,
come into it thinking about the incredible value that I'm delivering. So I'm not trying to sell anything. Like I really
mm,
feel that. I
yeah,
am so pure in my intention of sharing that magic. I've got such a gift and such a I see the profound I guess I've gotten to the point where I see the profound impact on say the Autism Music Australia programs on kids,
right.
uh, that I've come to the point now where I'm not going in for trying to necessarily sell. It's more so that flipping that coin of,
Mm,
almost qualifying the person to see if they're a fit for the magic of what I do.
yeah. I think that's one of the most beautiful things is there are people on this planet who will only work with Jay.
Yeah.
You can't stop that. They will just work with you. They're destined to meet you. It's a soul contract. And when you realize that what you're offering is coming from the heart, and when you realize it's here to serve humanity, you need to get it out of yourself. You can't hold it. It's so big. And that's where the magic really happens. People feel that essence.
And just letting that land for people, like you've used me as a reference point for what you just said, but that could apply to literally anyone that's listening to this podcast. Guys, there's only one of you. There's only one of
Mm.
you that can deliver that magic. And there's so many people on this planet that are directly aligned to receive that magic only from you.
I was listening to a podcast, and to double down on what just Jay just shared, like there is only one you, and God doesn't make mistakes, right? So for the 8.3 billion people on the planet, He chose you to champion, to shepherd, to birth whatever innate gifts live inside of you. And
Yeah.
He chose you. The deeper question is, will you choose you?
Will you choose you? There it is. Another Michael
Mm.
Cooper mic drop. 100% I
We could
will.
end it there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and choosing me for the greater good of humanity, sharing that magic with those gifts with the world. So let's flip this around. Let's break this down a bit. So creating that environment where the for the client to buy and experience your
Mm.
magic, qualifying them out first and then qualifying them in. Words I've heard you say, Mike. Could you explain a little bit about that?
Yeah. The really important thing well, I say the work that I do is how can I be in service to the client? And sometimes I'm not the best fit for them, whether it's a timing issue, whether they're not ready, they're not right, financial, whatever it may be. It's not a sales call for me. It's a screening process because I get to choose who I work with. I get to choose when I work with them. Maybe it's the most ideal client, but our times clash. I just can't fit into the time zone they're in. And I'm not going to bend my rules and my boundaries of my work just to do that, although I have
Yeah.
done that in the past. And to my detriment, always to my detriment. So for me, it's how can I be in best service in my fullness? And so it's a qualification process. I don't have anything to sell them. There's nothing to buy. I actually say that in a lot of the calls. There's nothing to
Mm-hmm.
buy here.
Mm-hmm.
At the moment, I'm just trying to see if it's a good fit. And at the end of it, if I can determine in the first 5 minutes that it's not a right fit, whether it's an energetic, spiritual, emotional, or a financial misfit,
Yeah.
I tell them I'll redirect them to the person who I believe is more appropriate if they're open to that.
100%. And
And
I
one,
often do that. And with that energetics that comes behind that, there's nothing that makes people want to buy from you more than that, well, it's up there at least, it's a stronghold to
yeah,
really get them to lean in. When they feel that pull back from you, they'll often lean in.
yeah, and it's actually one of the questions I use. You know, one of the questions is, let's take money off the table, and we all understand that money is a beautiful exchange of energy. Let's take it off the table. Why would I work with you?
Yeah.
Let's say I didn't need the money. Why? And
Yep.
then that will tell me where the person is at. Have they are they working? Are they here on this call as a reactive, knee-jerk reaction to an acute situation that they're currently in? Have they really desired to work with me for a while? Maybe they vision board me. Maybe they said, "I'm going to work with that guy one day. I want to work with that person," because the that particular call, they have paid to be there, whether we like it or not. They paid by giving me their email address and their name and their phone number. They paid by investing in their time and putting it in their calendar. Maybe they moved some things around. Maybe they got someone to babysit their kids. That is a cost. And so they're paying to be there. And I get to see it that way, is that they've chosen. I didn't put a gun to their head and said, be on the call. They chose, they entered in my diary without my doing. And so what they're really paying for when people come to us is transformation. And
Yeah.
can we facilitate that? And sometimes that call is enough transformation for the purpose for that person. I've taken them to their threshold, even if we don't work together, because of the questions and the reflections and the way that I operate. Sometimes that's enough for people to make the change they need. I don't get
Yeah.
paid in that sense, but I did my right. I did what was right by them. I did fulfill my purpose, was creating transformation, and that's really what they're looking for. And I can tell you, I know, that we've both worked with Chantel. That was massive transformation for me. Do you know when it happened? The day I
Mm.
said yes to work with her. The
Yeah.
day she said yes to work with me, and I had to pay her, 15,000 or 20,000 US or something like that. That's when the transformation happened. And if I've gone on any initiation, it's always when I said yes.
Yeah. Yeah. As simple as that. You got to say yes to begin, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And then if someone sells you into it, you've lowered the consciousness. Whereas
Yeah.
when I get to choose, and I go on the choose your own adventure with Mike, when he asks really direct questions and helps me make the decision for myself, and that they see the alignment, that's where the transformation happens. And the greatest level of change comes from that. But if I sell you into it, I've told you to be here, I've sold you into it, I've lowered the consciousness of the exchange. And at some point, you're going to feel the resentment towards that and probably bail early. You might not see the contract through, you might not see the term through, you might not show up. But I know that time that I said yes to Chantel, I did breath work before, I journaled before, everything, because I chose to be there.
Mm.
And that was a big investment at the time for me. And the transformation had happened when I said yes to a big initiation. At that point, it was price. That was my initiation. It scared me.
Why did it scare you?
What if it doesn't work? Is it a waste of money? God, that's a lot to invest in myself. Who am I thinking? The same stories I'm sure everyone else has, right?
Mm.
They go through these processes is, God, I could put that money elsewhere. Maybe I should put it into the investments. Maybe I should put it to the kids. Maybe I should save some money. I don't have that much liquidity right now. It's just being stupid again. All of the things, and then you say yes, and a day later you get buyer's remorse because you've gone through the inertia and you've gone through the other side of it, and you start to regulate a little bit, and you're like, maybe I made a mistake. Maybe I should pull out. It's not too late, and that's pretty normal if you're human.
Yeah. I love what you said. Creating an experience where they get to choose their own adventure, or you creating an
Mm.
experience where it's a choose your own adventure. Now, I think of the way I coach and the way I teach, and that's literally so much of it. I always say energetically, I'm going to split up my sessions 50-50. 50% of what you want to do it, and then I'll shape everything of my 50%
Mm,
around the
yeah,
direction you want to go. So there's that give and take. It never quite works exactly right, that, but that's the structure,
yeah,
and that's
yeah.
the choose your own adventure. And that can be with coaching or with music. It's literally the way I've set up Autism Music Australia, as so many of the kids come for only one instrument. But from a lifetime of experience, I can tell you that 90% of the time, after 2 weeks, they will often want to go with another instrument or another concept,
Mm,
e.g., songwriting, which is why we have the songwriting program in there. So, structuring things around creating somewhat of a choose your own adventure experience where there's structure and structure and shape, but with a softness to ebb and flow with that
mm,
structure, a slight reduction in rigidness of what
yeah.
we think they need to do. And I believe that's a big part of the magic of what we do, and why it's been so successful.
Yeah, even when someone comes into your ecosystem. So the step you're at is once they're in your ecosystem, you have that structure, framing, and intuitive guidance and play space, and because you're in the space of play, and especially with the audience that you're, you know, guiding and facilitating, they need that
Yeah,
freedom as well, and they also need the structure. That's why it works really well. But imagine when they come into your ecosystem, maybe on a introductory call or a discovery call or whatever that is, allow them choice. So I go into it and yes, I have a framework. There's two or three programs you may be able to choose. And I may have an intuitive guide of where you probably feel best.
yeah,
I'm going to sense maybe groups aren't right for you, or, but I'm not going to throw my lens over it yet. I seek to understand first.
yeah.
And so the framework is so that I can understand you, and my questions as so I can best serve you, and then find the best place that you'll get the greatest level of change. And then from there, I have that framework. And then I go into, like, I don't know what someone's going to present with on the day, even though I've got pre questionnaires to the call of like, answer these three things. I know what you're navigating at a high level, but let me really unearth what that really is for you. And it's only until the very last minute when I say to them, well, based on everything that you've shared today, it feels like a really good fit. Would you like to see what it looks like? And only in that moment do I get to decide the direction that I'll lead them through.
Yeah, I love that question too. Would you like to see what that looks like?
Mm,
So, with this, then, as far as giving them the offers at the end of that, when you say, would you like to see what that looks like? Everyone's always saying just have the one thing that you do,
yeah.
the one offer, and keeping that simple. But for some, there's different options. So, how do you get around that? What's your thoughts on that? I'm a big fan of the one thing.
Absolutely. I think people struggle to make decisions, too many options. There's overwhelming. They're coming to you for guidance and advice anyway, so
Yeah.
we need to be directing them. It's also a masculine trait to provide direction.
Yep.
However, if I haven't been able to decipher through my earlier questioning in the call, I say there's one of two ways that people can work with me, and they're generally polarized based on it's either group or it's one on one.
Yep.
Which one feels more aligned for you?
Yeah.
And then I go deeper into the one that feels more aligned because that's what they're asking for. So yeah, that's the way if I haven't been able to decipher yet, that's the way I would take it. Again, still asking them to choose.
And one-off payments versus things like subscriptions. What's your thoughts
Mm,
on that, mate? You. What's your thoughts? I see a cheeky smile.
love love that question. There's a depends on the stage and evolution of the business.
Yep.
So really depends on where you're at in the business with a cash flow perspective. Chunking it right up at a high level, everyone loves paid in full because it feels good, but it feels good for about 6 days. And very few people manage paid in full as well. So if you're in a paid in full program, whatever the number is, it's irrelevant, for 12 months, you this is a projection. You should, that's my projection.
Give it to
You
me.
should, yeah, put it into a paid in full bank account and then drip feed it back into your transaction account on a monthly basis.
Yeah,
So if it was a 10,000 or a $12,000 paid in full
that's a
fee,
great idea. I love that, Mike.
and then you prorata it and you pay yourself $1,000 per month. And so it's all about risk aversion and risk strategy. And so paid in full is amazing. It's great lumpy
Why would you
cash.
do what you just said? Why would you do that?
Which one?
Drip
The
feed
paid
yourself
in.
that payment over 12 months.
Oh, there's a multitude of reasons. The first one is, what if they cancel
Yep,
and you went and spent all the money in month one,
yep,
and month three they say, hey, it's just not really aligned anymore. I need to check out. You need to give the money back.
mm-hmm,
Unless your conditions say it's non-refundable, and
mm-hmm,
that's a stretch. So yeah, even if I had a non-refundable clause in there, I'd still drip feed it because cash flow is king. And even though I got lumpy cash flow up front, it doesn't mean I spend it all in one go. Unless I had such a big subscription base that was providing bread, butter, milk, keeping the lights on,
yep,
then you go, okay, I got lumpy cash flow. I can do something creative with that.
mm-hmm,
I can invest in a staff member. I can invest in the stock market or
yep,
a couple of speculative investments
yep,
because I don't need to give it back. I'm pretty safe. My cash flow is strong. So cash flow keeps you in the game,
yep,
and the lumpy stuff gets you have capital growth basically.
yeah. Yeah,
And
I like
so
the
I think,
idea of the drip feed for accountability as a coach and as a teacher too, just to really keep honing in that value. Not that you
yes,
should need it, but it's just a nice little
no, you
icing on
need
the
it.
cake.
No, you absolutely need it because I know I get a lump sum payment and it's like $30,000, $40,000.
Hmm.
It feels amazing day one. By
Yeah,
day two, it's sort of starting to diminish. By day three, I've almost forgotten about it. By day four, the money's usually gone and paid something that I needed to
hmm.
square off.
Hmm.
And so I've now got 6 months worth of coaching to do with no revenue.
Yeah,
So I feel resentment because I did a prideful act, which was a perceived positive past experience, but at the same time create resentment, which is a perceived negative experience in the past. I've just got to move through time and space to collect it. So I lose my drive, my motivation, because technically I haven't been fed from this client for 6 months.
yeah.
It's hard. It's really hard.
Hmm.
And so that's where it's a clever strategy to keep your fire burning just by kindling it every day with a little bit of cash flow.
If anyone's got any thoughts on that with their personal experience, I'd love to see that in the comments. If you got any thoughts on that,
Mm.
I'm curious to see how other people have navigated that. So next week, I think we're going to be speaking about branding, personal brand, how we've built our personal brands over the years, and what the different things that people know us for. I heard an interesting fact the other day that these days it's about 90 minutes of content consumption of your work before people are inclined to know like and trust you enough to purchase from you as well with what you're doing. So
Mm.
that sounds really fair to me. A lot of the people that are purchasing programs through Autism Music Australia or Tribal Moon or my other music schools, they don't know me for a bar of soap and they're still purchasing. So I think 90 minutes feels like a really safe, solid amount of time. So providing
Mm.
90 minutes of brand awareness and quality control of putting your work out there for them to perceive before they get on the call, and your perception as well, Mike. I've heard you say before about having sort of the work done of the selling before they get on the call with you.
Yeah,
What do you think about that?
absolutely. Yeah, 100%. I think Google did a research on it as well of how many interactions. The correct structure is going to lose me here, but I think it was 11 consumptions, 7 interactions, 4 platforms or 4 places. So basically being omnipresent. So if they just saw you on YouTube, not enough. They need to see you on YouTube, they need to see you on a website, they need to see an email list, and they need to see you on Instagram to finally go, yeah, this guy's sort of everywhere. It seems really consistent. I have a lot of safety in his brand.
Yeah.
Um, those, I think it was 11 interactions. So did Jay send me a private message? Did he then send me a quick 15-minute video to watch? Did he then send me a quick link on Instagram to go, hey, here's a short that I did, really down the line of what you're addressing right now?
Yeah, I
And
heard
so
last
all
week
of that is happening.
17 touch points.
It might be, yeah, it might be 17. That's where I got the 7 from. I'll look it up for next week for you.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, it's there's a meta analysis that was done on it, and that's what it's requiring these days. So I think, like you articulated a second ago, the selling, air quotes, is done in the consumption. And when they consume you, they're investing in their time, they're investing in their energy and resources in you, all before you get on the call and say, hey, would you like to work with me? So allowing people to consume you and making it as easy as possible. Look at the world we live in. We live in the world of Netflix, and Netflix has an offer of consumption.
Yeah,
And so they're training people and conditioning people through that. Hey, I just open up one app and I get this guy, I get all of the things. So can you be all of the things across all of the platforms? Being omnipresent,
yeah,
consistent messaging. Is your branding the same on all of the platforms? Because that creates safety. So it's an internal safety mechanism. If Jay had a black banner, but when I landed on his webpage, it was blue, it internally, unconsciously, it sets me off as like, that's, is this the right guy? Is it? And all of a sudden, I'm on the back foot.
mm.
I've seen people do this. Alex Hormozy does this really well. Just about everyone who follows him does it really well. They start wearing a hat, or they'll wear the nose bridge,
Yeah,
and that becomes the thing that, he always wears the hat. He always wears the nose bridge. And you can tell who follows Hormozy because they look like him. You know, they wear the hat and the nose bridge. And they do the things the same because they're adopting his essence, which creates credibility. Everyone goes, oh, you're just like Hormozy, but I think Hormozy is successful, so that's, you must be successful too.
yeah,
It's very clever, and it's assumed credibility. But they're consistent. Every video is the same. Every video is the hat. Everywhere it is same, 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 same.
mm.
And that creates safety. People buy in a safe environment. When they're in a stay and play, which means I'm going to your YouTube, I'll go across to your podcast. You know what? I'll go and have a look at his stories and see what's alive in Jay today. And that, now they're spending and consuming time with you. That will create more safety. And then they're in their stay and play nervous system, not their, oh, is this guy right for me? Fight or flight. And I
Yeah,
can't make a safe decision when I'm in my fight or flight nervous system. So part of that process, when you really look at it, is regulating people's nervous system so that they stay and they play.
yeah. I might have to start wearing my little hat again as a thing. It's got me thinking now, Mike. I love what you just said. The consumption is the investment. So let's just back that up for a second, guys, just to really land the value of content these days, the value of good quality content. The consumption of it is the investment, as in the value of time is technically worth more than money. Now, it's easy to lose when you think about Netflix and you're just mindlessly watching Netflix
Mm.
or mindlessly scrolling through social media, right? As a consumer. We've had this conversation before, is are you a consumer or are you a creator? And I'm a creator. So therefore every time I'm consuming, I go, no, Jay, you're a creator, you're not a consumer. So I'm
Mm.
inspired to go and create more. So if we bring that back to the creators side for a second, to inspire creators to create more substance and give more value, coming back to appreciating again, don't forget how important your client's time is. It's literally, or your consumer's time, and it's literally everything. It's literally worth more to them than money itself.
Mm.
So with that invitation, let's step up and go out of our way constantly to offer premium value and honor their time.
Yeah. I think it was Gary Vaynerchuk way back. I don't necessarily agree with Gary's then nor now. I don't follow him now, so I don't know what he's up to these days. But back in 2015, he was literally publishing books about hustle. It was the hustle culture, and he was the king of it. And I believe he's rectified his ways since, after a couple of burnouts, probably. But he said, and something I did align with, was give your best stuff away
Yeah.
in for free. And I was like, wow. And he really did. He was talking about strategies. Hormozy does this as well. And there's a couple of reasons. Tony Robbins said, say the same thing over and over and over again, and eventually someone will listen. It took about 20 years for that to bed into truth for him. He
Yeah.
just kept saying, date with destiny, date with destiny. He hasn't changed the format in something like 40 years. And eventually people listen to it. I mean, they've been listening for a while now. But when they hear it once, it's a mild level of entertainment value.
Yeah.
They're like, wow, that will change my life. And they don't put it into action. So when they finally arrive at your course and they get the teachings plus the atmosphere plus your essence, and they feel you, they go, I need to put this into play. And it's only when they're finally in front of you and they've across that pay threshold, they've gone through the paywall, that they then put the great advice they got for free into play, which changes their life.
Yeah.
So give your stuff away without expectation, without desire for a click or a comment or a reward, because within 20 seconds, they've scrolled on and they're consuming something else. They have 60,000 thoughts a day. They're probably not going to remember what you said.
Yeah.
However, they will remember how the way you make them feel. There's a couple of guys that on social media that I could watch, and instantly after watching their post, I could close down the app. Not on social, but this would be my experience if it was today. And I could watch their content and I get so much dopamine, and it's like, wow, I'm complete. I don't need to keep scrolling because I'm like, you serviced me today. I feel like, wow, I see how that plays out in my life. You gave me the tools, you gave me the actions, you gave me the knowledge, and you gave me the answers at a high level in 90 seconds, but enough for me to go, I feel satiated. And you guys
Yeah.
can help me close down the app now. And so if you're delivering that much value, hey, do these three things to regain your marriage. Do these three things to reclaim your masculinity. Do these three things to, when your wife is testing you through your storm, whatever the thing is, right? If you can deliver so much value, people will build trust. They will like, people always buy from people they like and love. So help them love you.
Yeah.
Wow, how many people have you had? Wow, you changed my life.
Yeah.
Just by that one podcast or that one song or that one thing. So many of these people who do really well in the social space get those messages all the time. They get people who are voyeurs. They sit on the outside. They never like. They never love. They never click. They never comment. And one day, 2 years later, they'll pop a DM and say, "Hey, I've been following you for a long time. I just need to know you changed my life." Who are you?
Yeah.
I've never seen you before.
Yeah.
I've never seen you comment. I've never seen a thing. But wow, thank you for letting me know.
Yeah.
And that's where real magic happens. But that's the guy who sits on the sidelines on the sidelines all the time. There's people who
Yeah.
are waiting to buy. You just need to give them the opportunity.
Yeah. Man, I love that. That's so true. And all those people that are out there that are watching you that you'll never know about.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
crazy. It is really crazy that and you're changing their life. Like
Yeah.
you really are, and you've got no idea. You're completely oblivious to it. Because most times you're focusing on the negative comments or the things that didn't trend or the things that didn't go well. And so where your focus goes, your energy flows. But there are people, and this is why you sorry, this is why you get to keep showing up regardless of the silence, regardless of the lack of likes, regardless of, and keep refining and keep retuning and get better at your craft and just deliver more value. Like pour
Yeah.
out so much value that you become irreplaceable, you
Yeah.
become irresistible. You will magnetize those in that really, really want to be with you. And I'd rather have 1,000 people like that than 20,000 of averages that are just there for clickbait.
Totally. If you think about it like starting as a square and creating a circle with that dot point of what what you're offering and and create and fine tuning and just constantly rounding off the edges until it's like a perfect circle. I feel like that's what I've been doing with autism music for like 3.5 years now, and it's still
Yeah,
pretty
yeah,
bumpy on the edges with getting that consistency of, you know, getting that strategically and consistently to the right clients over and over and over without any bumps along the way to prevent them from signing their kids up so the kids receive the magic of what it is we do. And that's, yeah, huge.
yeah. You'll be that overnight success in about 5 years.
Yeah,
You'll just like that refinement no one sees.
yeah,
Like I see it, you see it because you live it,
yeah,
and all of a sudden it pops,
yeah,
and you're like, "Oh wow, you're so lucky."
yeah,
You're like, uh, if you saw what I went through in that
yeah,
refinement process and for how long,
yeah,
um, you would not consider it luck. You would consider it
totally,
hard work. Everyone
totally.
just sees the final result, and those refinements are hard because you thought at that moment, yeah, that's my best thing, and then you get
Yeah,
the feedback, and you're like, okay, that didn't really work. It didn't
yeah,
land. People are not resonating with it. Refine, and your ability to check, receive that feedback, double it down, swallow the medicine, and go again is true mastery. Not
yeah,
many people, most people get feedback and fold.
yeah,
I see that all the time, especially in my men's space.
yeah,
You know, they ask for feedback, then they get firm feedback, they run.
yeah,
You know, you don't even get a response back from it because yes, the little boy got hurt. Yes, the ego got dented, but that's not growth.
no,
You know, and I that's one of my highest values, and I know it's a high value for you.
yeah,
Is give me the feedback. I remember Chantel said to me one day, she goes, "Yeah, and I'm going for you today." And I'm like, I was getting beat up, like
mm,
proper. Like you've actually been beat up, but I was getting proper beat up, right? And I'm like, "Yep, but keep going, don't stop." I'm
yeah,
like, "At me? No, I'm not done yet. I'm still standing. Keep going." And yeah, it hurt, and yeah, it was deep. And she does it with love, as all great coaches do.
mm,
But it's, especially for men and the men in the audience listening, men are birthed through initiation by fire.
yeah,
Iron sharpens iron. You need to brush up against a stronger man, or
yeah,
in that case, it was a woman in her masculine. But you need to brush up at someone and face off on your mortality, face
yeah,
off on your limitations, and grow from it and say thank
grow.
you.
I'll put Chantel's website link in the comments description below, so
Mm.
check that out. Guys, we're going to have to wrap it up for today, but another great session today, Mike. Thank you so much for your time. Next week's going to be an absolute blitzer, so stay tuned for that. We'll be starting to drop into a bit around branding, I believe, next week, and continuing this conversation, adding more value. So thanks, mate. We'll see you next week.
See you, brother.